Have you ever met someone who made your heart race, not because of what they said, but because of how they made you feel? I remember a moment years ago, one of those unexpected evenings that change how you see connection forever. It was a small rooftop party in London, soft jazz playing in the background, the air crisp and alive, the kind of night that makes every conversation feel cinematic. I wasn't really in the mood to socialize, but life has this funny way of placing the right person in your path when you least expect it. She walked in, not loudly, not to be noticed, but with this quiet kind of certainty. The kind of confidence that doesn't need attention because it already has presence. You could tell she wasn't scanning the room for approval. She was simply there. I remember the way she talked, slow, thoughtful, with a light in her eyes that made you want to listen. She didn't talk about herself the whole time, and yet everything she said somehow made you curious about who she was. Her laughter wasn't rehearsed or controlled, it was free, that unfiltered sound that draws people closer. She wasn't trying to be impressive, and that's exactly what made her so unforgettable. When she walked away to refill her glass, I caught myself thinking, oh wow, she's going to be on someone's mind all night. And that's when it hit me. The most magnetic people are never the ones chasing validation. They're not performing, they're existing fully. They don't need to fill the space with noise or charm. They own the space by being real. You see, presence has a frequency. You can feel when someone is really in the moment with you. It's rare because most people are thinking about how they look, what they'll say next, or whether the other person likes them. But when someone is fully there, it changes the entire energy around them. You don't remember what they wore or the exact words they said. You remember how you felt when they looked at you. You remember that calm, that focus, that warmth. Presence is a kind of quiet power. It's not loud or dramatic. It's subtle and deep. It doesn't demand attention, it draws it. The woman I met that night didn't have to work the room. She didn't try to be the funniest or the most confident. She simply made every moment feel alive. And that taught me something profound. When you show up as your true self, people notice without you even trying. The way you listen, the way you react, the way your eyes light up when you're interested, these small human things leave a bigger mark than any grand gesture ever could. Think about the time someone truly saw you, when they didn't check their phone while you were speaking, when they didn't interrupt or try to one-up your story, when they just listened. You probably still remember that feeling, don't you? That's the power of presence. That's the reason someone stays on your mind, because connection isn't born in what we do, it's born in how we show up. If you want to be unforgettable, stop trying to perform. Stop trying to prove your worth. Instead, be worth remembering by being completely there. With your attention, your curiosity, your calm energy, presence is what turns a brief conversation into a lasting impression. It's what makes someone replay a moment in their head long after the night has ended. Because the truth is, people don't fall for perfection, they fall for presence. The way you make them feel seen, the way you slow the world down just by being authentic. That's the secret that no line, no look, no strategy can fake. So the next time you meet someone and your heart beats a little faster, remember this, your power doesn't lie in trying harder. It lies in being there, fully, genuinely, unapologetically. Yeah, because when your presence speaks louder than your words, that's when you'll be on his mind. All night. All night. The second thing, don't fill every silence. You see, silence makes most people nervous. We live in a world where constant noise feels like safety. We scroll, we talk, we over-explain, all to avoid that quiet moment where nothing is said. But in those still moments, something powerful happens. Connection breathes. I learned this one night during a conversation that felt like a scene from a movie. The lights were low, the music soft, and there was that comfortable kind of tension that sits between two people who are both curious but cautious. She asked a question. I answered, and then silence. Not awkward, not heavy, just still. I could have rushed to fill it, could have thrown in a joke or changed the topic, but something told me to just stay, to sit with it, to let the space exist. And in that space, I noticed something I'd never seen before. Her eyes searching mine, a tiny smile, like she was enjoying the quiet too. That's when I understood. Silence isn't the absence of connection. It's the proof of it. When two people are truly at ease, silence becomes electric. It's the pause between words that carries meaning. It's the moment that says, I'm comfortable enough not to need noise, but we often ruin it. We panic, thinking the other person will lose interest if we don't keep talking. We start to perform to fill the gaps with meaningless chatter. But here's the truth. When you can stay still in the silence, when you can let the air settle without rushing to control it, you're showing confidence on a level words can't touch. It says, I don't need to impress you. I'm already comfortable being here. And that calm, unshakable energy is magnetic. I've seen people do this without even realizing it. The ones who know how to hold eye contact just long enough, who can sit in a moment without needing to say something clever. You can feel their peace, and that peace draws you in, because silence reveals everything. When you pause, the other person starts to lean in. They start to wonder what you're thinking, what you're feeling. It creates curiosity. It builds tension, the good kind, the kind that keeps someone up at night, replaying that moment in their mind. There's an art to letting silence speak for you. It's the pause before a smile, the quiet moment after a shared laugh, the way your eyes linger before you look away. In those seconds, connection deepens in ways words never could. Silence is where chemistry hides, in the breath between sentences, in the waiting and the unspoken. People remember that. They remember how it felt, that charged stillness that made their heart skip a beat. So don't rush to fill every gap. When you leave space, you invite depth. You allow emotion to unfold naturally. You give the other person a moment to feel the weight of your presence, the rhythm of your energy. That's what makes you unforgettable. It's not about how much you say, it's about how deeply your silence speaks. Because when you're confident enough to let the quiet linger, you're showing that you don't fear the moment. You own it. And maybe later that night, when everything else fades and the world goes still, they'll remember that exact silence, that heartbeat of calm between you, and wonder why it still echoes in their mind. That's when you'll know you didn't just leave a memory. You left a feeling that words could never create. The third truth, mystery isn't about playing games. It's about having a life that's worth being curious about. Too many people confuse mystery with manipulation. They think being mysterious means holding back, not replying too fast or pretending to be less interested than they really are. But that's not mystery. That's insecurity wearing confidence as a mask. True mystery isn't about what you hide. It's about what you naturally have. It's the quiet strength of someone who knows their life is already full, already meaningful, with or without anyone else's validation. I remember once meeting a woman who embodied this perfectly. We were both waiting for a late-night flight, and in that empty, humming terminal, she seemed completely at ease, sitting cross-legged on the floor, reading a book with the kind of focus that made the noise around her disappear. We started talking, and she told me about how she was coming back from volunteering abroad, how she'd been teaching kids who didn't even have paper for lessons but still smiled wider than anyone she knew back home. She spoke with this calm, steady passion, not bragging, not performing. Just sharing. And every word made me more curious. Not because she was trying to create an impression, but because she clearly had a life filled with stories, experiences, and purpose. When our flight was called, she smiled, waved, and walked away without looking back. For days after, I kept thinking about her, the way she talked, the way she seemed whole. That's mystery. Mystery isn't the act of pulling away. It's the natural result of having somewhere else to go. When you have dreams, goals, and passions that light you up, people can sense it. You don't have to broadcast it. It's in your energy. When you talk about something that excites you, your eyes come alive, your words gain rhythm, and suddenly you're unforgettable. That spark makes people want to know more. It's not that you're withholding information. It's that your life feels like a story with more chapters left to read. Think about the people who stay on your mind. It's rarely the ones who told you everything about themselves in the first 5 minutes. It's the ones who gave you glimpses, who shared enough to make you feel connected but left just enough unsaid to make you wonder. It's the person who, instead of oversharing, lets you discover them piece by piece. That's the beauty of mystery. It turns discovery into an experience. When you leave a little to the imagination, you create anticipation. You give the other person a chance to lean in, to ask, to be curious. And curiosity is powerful. It's the engine of attraction. It keeps someone thinking about you long after the conversation ends. Not because you played hard to get, but because your life has layers, because you made them feel like knowing you was an unfolding journey, not a completed story. But here's the secret. You can't fake that kind of depth. You have to live it. You have to fill your own world with things that make you proud, that make you feel alive. When you're constantly learning, growing, exploring, you become magnetic without trying. People will feel it in the way you talk, in the way you carry yourself, in the way you light up when you mention the things you love. That's what makes someone say, yeah, there's just something about them. And when the night ends and you've gone your separate ways, that's what keeps their minds circling back to you. The way you made them curious. The sense that there was more to learn, more to feel, more to discover, more to discover. They'll think about your laugh, your words, the little pause you left before saying goodbye. And that quiet mystery, that depth born of living fully, will linger long after you've gone, making them wonder when they might get to turn the next page of your story.